Welcome to Evening Rush. So, yes, I see what's been happening now from the Chicago State University attacker across all their social media platform yesterday. We woke up this morning to the news that there's been. So, what do we owe all of this happening in Africa back right and center? What is happening now? Libreville, Gabon, soldiers in Gabon announced, early Wednesday morning today, that the head of the Republican Guard would be the country's new head of state, as after saying they had placed the newly re-elected president under house arrest. And I'm going to give you, full details of the president of Gabon, his father, whom he took over from. I'll probably take a little bit of a visit to other African countries that people have been wondering what's been going on here, because there are a couple of African countries that you have leaders who's been there for about 40 years, some 42 years, and we're wondering what is all of this uprising in Africa about. That is the focus of our conversation today. Perhaps that's the only thing that we'll be talking on a hot topic today, and maybe also a step down conversation. Now, the mutinous soldiers went on Gabon state television and said that General Brice Clotaire Oligui Nguema was president of the Committee for the Transition Guard, an elite military unit. He's also the cousin of President Ali Bongo Ondimba. Now, that family has ruled that country for 52 years. So this may be a brother's inhumanity to a brother, right? Not man's inhumanity to man, rather. I don't know how. I don't know what you call it. I don't know how we're going to explain this. So breaking down this conversation, as it were. The soldiers claimed to have seized power in Gabon today, Wednesday, and put the president under house arrest as after he was declared the winner of an election extending his family's 55 years rule in the oil-rich Central African nation. By the way, their people can't even see, they can't feel the impact of the oil that they have. Now, the statement reads, "Thank you, Army. Finally, we've been waiting a long time for this moment." That's what some people were tweeting on, across social media platforms of Gabon. Bongo is 64 years old. He has served 2 terms since coming into power in 2009 after the death of his father, who ruled the country for 41 years. That is, Mpapa Sidan ruled the country for 41 years. Him, since 2009 till now, he's been ruling the country. There was almost something close to a military coup, an attempted military coup in 2019, but it was quickly overpowered. And here we are, 4 years or 5 years later, the military coup eventually succeeds. Now, the former French colony is a member of OPEC, but its oil wealth is centered in the hands of a few, and nearly 40% of Gabonese aged 15 to 24 were out of work in 2020. Now, according to the World Bank, its oil export revenue was about $6 billion in 2022. That is just last year. According to the U.S. Energy Information Administration, that is the AEI reports that comes in annually, they have about $2,720 dollar per capita, right? 9 members of the Bongo family, meanwhile, are under investigation in France, and some face preliminary charges of embezzlement, money laundering, and other forms of corruption, according to Sharpa, a French NGO dedicated to accountability. Now, investigators have linked the family to more than $92 million in properties in France. This one family, we done the rule for 55 years now, then get over $92 million worth of property for France, including 2 villas in Nice. Now, according to a spokesperson for the soldiers who claimed power Wednesday, said the Bongo's unpredictable, irresponsible, that's what they named it, irresponsible governance risked leading the country into chaos. In a later statement, the coup leader said people around the president had been arrested, for high betrayal of state institutions, massive embezzlement of public funds, and international financial embezzlement. They don't arrest them. They don't carry them keep for corner. Come and start explaining to us what you did. We hear that the president of their National Assembly has also been arrested. Now, some analysts warn that the takeover risk bringing instability and could have more to do with divisions among the ruling elite than efforts to improve the lives of ordinary Gabonese. Now, what do we usually expect from most of these military leaders when they take over? But what is surprising is the kind of, the overwhelming support that most of this coup gets from Africans. And we'll begin to, from their citizens. And we'll begin to wonder, wait, the last time we checked, we all wanted democracy, or we all loved democracy. In fact, so many countries cried, like Nigeria, fought to have democracy in Nigeria. But then why are people in these countries even happy that military is not taking over their country? That is something that we need to look into. I remember that this happened just barely a month after the Niger, the Niger issue. And may I also let you know that this whole thing about the Gabon coup happened just a few days after their general election, where the president who's took over from his father, found after his second tenure, amended, their constitutions and all that to ensure that he recontested the election. And in that election, he made sure that all international observers were not around. Not only did he not bar international observers, he also shut down internet. Okay, so I would like to play us reaction of people, whilst this is happening, so we take a listen to exactly and feel the pulse of the people as it's happening in Gabon right now. Now that's chant of excitement by Gabonese. You could hear that at the background, how excited people were just at the mention of the fact that, this man is no longer your president. There was so much excitement in the air. Even people took to the streets to jubilate, to merry, to be happy, and to rejoice over the news. That's Gabonese on the streets of Gabon, rejoicing with their country's flag and happy over what just happened. How can you be happy over a military coup? That is a question that we are asking. Okay, and just so you know, the Gabonese president, who's been under house arrest, by the way, Bongo Ondimba, who's been under house arrest, had to make a video pleading to people to make noise about it and help him. He's crying to the international community, please make some noise, I beg you. I don't know what's happening. Next step will be, I don't know. But then let's take a listen to the ousted president of Gabon pleading for support.
I'm Ali Bongo Ondimba, president of Gabon, and I'm to send a message to all the friends that we have all over the world to tell them to make noise, for the people here have arrested me and my family. My son is somewhere, my wife is in another place, and I'm at the residence. Right now, I'm at the residence and nothing is happening. I don't know what's going on. So I'm calling you to make noise, really. I'm thanking you. Thank you.
You heard that from the ousted president of Gabon there, pleading with people. That is Ali Bongo Ondimba, pleading with people to make noise and to help him, that he doesn't even know what is happening. He can't understand what is happening. They need to make noise to help him. All right. So this is our step down conversation today. Let's look at, the rising of military coups in Africa generally. Yes, we do know that, of course, ECOWAS may not have a say in this because the Gabon, it's not part of is not part of ECOWAS, but rather they are part of CEEAC. So CEEAC is like Economic Community of Central African States, more like it. So that's the community there, that's their own body because it's under Central Africa. So I may take you, round a journey of a few heads of states or presidents, as it were, in Africa who have stayed put in power for as long as, and how disturbing that is. Let's take a visit to Cameroon, just our neighbors here. Paul Biya is one of the oldest presidents in Africa. Born in 13th of February 1933, he has served as Cameroonian president since 6th of November 1982. Emmanuel Macron, the president of France, was born in 1977. That is to say that Macron was about 5 years old when Biya became president. And Emmanuel Macron became the president of France when he was about 40, plus years old. So that is the Peking where they 5 years old when they born them grow to still come meet you as president. Do you understand that? Yes. And let me also remind you that I think from 1975 thereabouts, he served as the prime minister of Cameroon. From that 1975 to 1982, before he became the president of Cameroon. So if you look at how long he's been in power, just make the calculation. Paul Biya is the second longest serving president in Africa and the longest non-royal serving leader in the world. He is 90 years old. And hey, his son is also very influential in the country. Perhaps he will also hand over power to his son. Recently, by the way, we hear that he celebrated his 90th birthday or so, 40th rule or thereabouts in France. That is, you're celebrating, but you live in France, right? And you had to make the celebration in France. We heard that some Cameroonians in France went there to, protest or probably destroy stuff, but that's out of the conversation. Let me bring you to the next person. Is Chiodoro Obiang Nguema Mbasogo. He is the Mbasogo is of Equatorial Guinea, has been in power since 1979. Making him the longest serving African president in the early years of his rule. President Obiang was known for being a brutal dictator. He is 81 years old. He is the longest serving president of any country so far, ever, and the second longest consecutively serving current non-royal national leader in the world. Perhaps after Paul Biya of Cameroon. And then I take you to another ride where we'll go to Denis Sassou Nguesso, one of Africa's longest serving presidents. He has been the president of the Republic of the Congo for 36 years. He first came to power in 1979, has since been re-elected 3 times. Sassou is among the oldest head of states in Africa, and he is 79 years old. Now, most part of the Africa that this is happening is predominantly francophone countries of Africa. All right, so we go to the next person, who is Yoweri Museveni. Museveni has been the president of Uganda for 34 years. He first came to power in 1986, and has since been re-elected 3 times. Museveni is the 3rd oldest head of state in Africa at 78 years old. And Isaias has been the president of Eritrea for 27 years. He first came to power in 1991 after leading the country's into independence movement from Ethiopia. Afwerki has since been re-elected twice. He is 77 years old. So you know the interesting thing that happens with most of these leaders. It's not just about their reign, neither is it about their rule, but it's about the things that happen in their country and how whether or not their people enjoy these things that happen in their country. That's actually the center of attraction. So let's take a visit to Theodore Obiang of Mango of Equatorial Guinea. Recently, or some time ago, Switzerland seized 25 cars from Equatorial Guinea's vice president, his son. They sold them for $27 million in 2019. His dad, Teodoro, has been president since 1979, as I told you. Brazil seized $16.5 million from him in 2018. US seized $70 million in 2011. Abacha loot has got nothing on him. Holland seized $120 million yacht in 2016 from him. And this just keeps happening. Now, this story of, the Equatorial Guinea, it's a story that is not very palatable to the ear. If we go ahead to, take a deeper look at how wealth is lavished in a country where most of its citizens are even poor. Theodore Obiang Mangwa was the Minister of Agriculture and Forestry for 15 years. He hired super yacht Tatouche for $700,000 to go on a Christmas cruise with US rapper Eve in 2005. Remember that story then, right? He spent, millions of their currency in weekend in South Africa in 2006 with, of course, fine people. He spent the money on champagne, property, renovations, a black 2004 Bentley, and he bought quite a couple of properties. He owns 2 houses in South Africa worth about 50 million rands. He also owns about $31 million compound in Malibu, USA. Now, he owns a 5,000 square feet, that is about 460 square meters home, worth about $116.7 million on Avenue 4th in Paris, France, and a record label. Oh, a TNO Entertainment. So the guys have no waiting day. They saw the ball. In 2008, he acquired one of the 30 Bugatti Veyron, and you guys tell me the name though. 16.4 sports cars for 1.1 million euros. See, we can go on and on to name how this family have been lavishing wealth. Obiang purchased another Bugatti and tried to purchase a third in 2011. Both Veyrons and other 9 cars of his were seized by French police investigating corruption cases. In July 2013, they confiscated goods. All those confiscated goods were sold by France. And of course, nobody did PIM. How you want to explain, say you just get the money. In 2015, Theodore Obiang Mango took over the 150 million, that is 295 feet super yacht ICE. On October 18, 2016, Switzerland started investigating him after he arrived 8 times in Geneva. France asked for them to work together to nail him. Switzerland also seized Ngueme Mangu's $120 million yacht, but returned it to him after he paid $1.5 million to cover the cost of investigation in 2019. He also owns a $38.5 million private jet and $275,000 Michael Jackson glove. You remember that glove now, right? UK banned him and seized all his assets in 2021. Oh, no come our country again for now. He can't waste money. The son of a president. The UK Foreign Office said he has spent $500 million on luxury houses, cars, and his extravagant lifestyle. Equatorial Guinea closed its embassy in London and dismissed the UK sanctions. Dismissed the UK sanctions imposed on him as illegal in July 2021. That is, would they tell you, say, no enter our country again. This kind of money where they spend like this, they give people wrong impression. Why you they can't spend this kind of money? You go lavish property anyhow. Then your country gets angry and close the the UK embassy in their country. Now, the most painful part of all of this is that 76.8% of Equatorial Guinea's population lives in poverty. I'm tempted to say, like, just Nigeria, despite only having a population of 1.7 million people and being oil rich, their population only 1.7 million, less than 2 million. That is, Lagos is bigger than the country. Less than 2 million people. But yet, over 70% of their population is poor. With the kind of plenty oil that they have, what is happening in Africa? This informs our conversation this evening, Lagos. I'd like you to chime in on this conversation. 073-903-903. 0700-903-903-9039. What do you think is happening? To what do you think we owe this uprising and this, do I call it this wokeness? Let me borrow Gen Z terms. This recent wokeness in Africa that people are now looking at it like, or every minute to hear military coup, the next minute to hear military coup. We are just dealing with the case of Niger. ECOWAS never even take their decision. Boom, Gabon has happened. Cameroon has been trending all day in Nigeria. Like, Cameroon, are you guys seeing what we're seeing? What is going on? And to what do we owe the stay put in power syndrome of African leaders? Irrespective of their age, irrespective of how functional they are, irrespective of how healthy they are, they want to stay back in power. And then to what do we even owe the Western accomplices? I'm sorry, but I had to mention that. Now, most of these people that you support to be presidents in other countries like Africa, can you have them to be presidents in your country, in France, for instance? If you support, for instance, a Paul Biya of Cameroon, with how old he is and how unfunctional he is as president, considering his age, would you also say that France will vote someone like Paul Biya as their president? Why do you choose someone as young as Macron to lead you? And then you'd rather, a Paul Biya leads people of the people of Cameroon. To what do we owe all of that? How can you say you need a chop eating oil a day, but every minute you see oil for your mouth? I want to understand. How come you say that, we're clean people, we have unquestionable characters, we're people that are straightforward, we like, sincerity, we like this. But every time that there is something happening in some part of the world where, insincerity is being fingered, somehow we see your shadow around it. Why? Why is it like that? Well, Lagos, let's jump right into this conversation. 0700-903-903-903, 0700-903-9039. Hello, good evening to you. Oh, yeah, I missed that call. All right, I jump right into another call. Hello, good evening to you. Hello, are you there? Good evening.
Yeah, hello.
Yes, good evening to you. Welcome.
Hello.
Yes, good evening. Are you there?
Yeah,
welcome. Oh, Mr. Chukudi, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Interestingly, you're our first caller.
Yeah. Yeah, because since I was at work and I had this queue, I was boiled. This family has been in power. I did say something yesterday, and Dr. Deji was telling you. I said something, and I referred to something yesterday. I think he misfound. He knew a lot, but I know that he don't want to say it on national radio. He said that I want him to say something, and that's not what I said. Now, you see that guy of Equatorial Guinea, you just gave a litany. Have you seen where this guy came inside to a shop to buy suit?
Are you serious? So all these properties I mentioned that he has, that is the Equatorial Guinea son. All these properties are just a tip of the iceberg.
Or what are you talking?
Are you serious?
All these people, I'm happy that I wanted to mention, there are some, but you have mentioned some of all these presidents. What of the Uganda president?
Oh, yes, I forgot that. I forgot that.
They have their son as the head of army.
Yes.
That's why
so that nobody can plan a coup against them.
Nobody can. their wife, their children married to another person. That person is connected. So a kind of a team, a gang.
But what is happening? That is not only on the country. What is happening?
There was in Cameroon from someone from Nigeria, heavy timbers. All these things are coming here. This when there is a time a day you were talking, I said I don't want to talk because if I vomit it, I say it will be venom. What France is doing. Go to Paris and see where some of all these francophone families. Some of them, you see, where they are living. It's just like a ghetto. Nothing is there. That's why when you see, if there is any slight demonstration, will flare up. And with their system, France doesn't have that you are a black France, or the system they have there is France is France. Citizen is citizen. Federation. So meaning that some of them, you cannot come out and say, oh, the unemployment is too much on black. You can only say the unemployment is on French people. Because but the people that are suffering it are those francophone migrants who are there. They don't have jobs. But still, back home, look at Equatorial Guinea, 1.something million. They are not up to 2 million.
They're not up to 2 million, just 1.7 million population. That is, River State is bigger than the country.
What is it? My local government is even might be bigger than them.
And then they are rich in oil. They have good oil. And then not only the family where they rule, they enjoy this oil.
I think after Nigeria, they are the second. After Nigeria, Libya, they are the second. I don't know, but it's either after Nigeria, they are the second, or after Libya. So they are the top.
A small country like that should have turned itself to paradise with the wealth it has. What's the population of Saudi Arabia? What's the population of UAE? How are they able to use their oil to transform their countries that Africans cannot use their own oil to transform?
All these things that you are seeing, Precious, is that France has been backing them. Look at Macron. How old is Macron? 40 something. I'm not sure he's up to 40.
He was born 1977.
Okay. So Macron is dining with a man sitting in Paris that is the president of Cameroon.
I said
but he's not living.
I said Paul Biya. I said Macron was 5 years old when Paul Biya became president in 1982. Paul Biya Paul Biya was already a prime minister before he was born.
And all of them are comfortable. What is happening in Africa? That ECOWAS is not moving forward today. That ECOWAS, you see, is France. Because of the way they put the economy of this francophone. If they leave them, ECOWAS will strive. West Africa will move on. Don't forget that the time they wanted to join, started using the euro. France wanted their francophone countries to do the same. European other member states in Europe blocked them.
So what is the way forward? What is happening in Africa?
The way forward is what the way forward is what they're doing. I hope that.
That's the problem. These military guys, are they using this money judicially or judicially rather, or they just want to eat their own part too? That's the question.
The thing that you are going to see is that France will find another way, go through maybe another country, a third party, and lure them in again. And the whole thing continues. Because I'm not the one who said it. It's their former president, Jacques Chirac, who said it in an interview that without the francophone countries in Africa, France has nothing. I'm not the one who said it. You can Google it.
You don't have a gold mine. Have one of the highest gold reserves. I don't get it. Well, thank you. Thank you, Tony Chukwudi. Let's take more callers, please. Thank you so much. Thank you very much for calling. Thank you.
I like your sweater.
Thank you. Oh, wow, I appreciate you. Thank you very much. Hello, good evening to you. Hello. Oh, wow, are you there? Good evening. I'm sorry, I think my connection is having issues. Good evening, are you there? Well, if you can connect back with us, that would be nice later on. All right. Hello, good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Precious.
Yes, you're welcome. I'm very well, thank you. Welcome. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Mr. TK. I'm calling from Isolo.
You're welcome. Go ahead.
Yeah. The problem in Africa is all about us. It's our own problem created by us. I don't want to be the devil's advocate here, but we have to call a spade a spade. Listen, if most Africans, we end up blaming the Western world to our problems. But the truth is that sometimes I feel for the Western world as well. It's like the USA. When something happens anywhere in the world, people will be like, oh, America is not doing anything. And when America do something, everyone, oh, they are doing something because they want to benefit. So this has been the situation here.
I don't understand you. I don't understand you. Are they not benefiting from the problem in Africa? If they are not benefiting, why are they not speaking up? The kind of leaders that they congratulate and hail, and the kind of election that begats those leaders that they congratulate, can they accept that kind of elections in their countries? Just say the truth.
Let's be truthful here.
All right, then go ahead.
There's a president that ruled France in those days. His name is Franco Mitterrand. This guy wasn't young. He wasn't young like the one we have today. But he made his impact. The issue here, the core issue here is not about who they congratulate or who they didn't congratulate. The issue is that
nobody said that that's just the issue. All right, go ahead.
So it's not. What I want to say is that is part of, because we are becoming so gullible. We are just believing that the Western world are the one that is creating the problem for us. No, we have brains. Why can't us do this thing in the right way? Let me put it this way: in all that this guy from Equatorial Guinea has done, which African country or community has ever spoken or even tried to reprimand them about what they are doing? But from all indications, we see that the only country who even went as far as banning the guy from coming into their country
was UK,
or sanctioning them is UK.
Yes.
If you look at your analysis, you see also that Switzerland has seized that, forced them to put in pressure.
Yes.
Up to today, some countries are still bringing the loot that Abacha took away from this country.
Yes.
So the issue here is that Africans don't want to do the right thing. All they do is look for cheap blame games here and there.
So what do you mean by do the right thing? I still don't get your point. What would you rather Africans do? And by Africans, who are you talking about? The leaders? Is it not through their leaders? Or how should they act? Everybody should come out on the street and condemn what somebody else is doing, and then there will be uprising.
Yes.
Oh wow,
that
really?
Is the way out. Because I know how many Ugandans who are refugees all over there in Europe. And most of these guys in their country, you find out when Yoweri Museveni came in, they were like, oh, this like God to them. Because Africans are so, I'm sorry to say, they are so gullible. You buy them with token. You buy their generation with token. People are not thinking behind their nose. People cannot ask questions. Like we are having military coups in Africa today. My sister, we have been there before. We are just only celebrating because we just need the change. But if you look at it critically, it can never lead us to anywhere as well. Because these guys have been there in 60s, but nothing was achieved. They were there in the power, but nothing was achieved. But what I'm saying is that we welcome the coup because we need change. But what we are saying is that when they come in, we expect them. We should hold them. We should tell them to do the right thing as well, so that we don't end up, getting back where we are coming from.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you. All right, let me go straight to my messages. I have lots and lots of messages to attend to. I do hope that I can have time, or perhaps just take a few more calls before I go to messages. Hello, good evening to you. Welcome. Hello, are you there? Hello. Hello, good evening. All right, I don't understand what's happening. Hello, good evening to you.
Good evening, Madam Precious.
Oh, hi. Is that AY?
That is AY.
AY, you're welcome. Go ahead. It's been a minute.
Yes, ma'am. It's been a minute, but I do listen. It's just time doesn't permit me. But
okay.
Today, I'm gonna, of course, the obvious topic everyone is talking about. The very, very obvious and predictable coup in Gabon. That, anybody that knows anything about anything knows that come on now. That was foreseen. In fact, I foreshadow at least 4 more coups.
Wait. Why did you say it was foreseen? Is it because of the outcome of their last election. Remember what happened in they just concluded election.
Yes.
Is that the reason why you think,
it was foreseen?
Oh, wow. But he didn't act like from his response, he's not acting like he saw that coming. The president acts like he didn't expect that to happen because he thought he had everything figured out and the country in his palms. After all, his family has been in power for 55 years.
The junta has seen the collective awakening of people around Africa, their fellow neighbors, and they've said, why are we suffering? For God's sake, those people are 2.5 million people. That country should be like Oman, Qatar, and Brunei, that their government will be begging them to go to work. That's how that country should be. Their government should be begging them to go to work because there will be no reason to work. For God's sake, 2.5 million. They are the fourth highest producer of crude oil in Africa, number 4. For just 2.5 million, coupled with the uranium, coupled with what's called to make batteries. What's that earth mineral called to make batteries? And manganese. Like, they can see that these guys, the only reason why these foreign powers endorse these democracies so that they can put their puppets in there and so that they can have access to their resources and give us, you know what they'll give us? They'll give us aid. My sister.
And the next thing, they'll threaten to take away the aid if you misbehave.
Let them keep their aid. My sister, they've been collecting aid since 1999. The country is still 33% unemployment, poverty. What has that aid done for them?
You're even talking about it. How about Equatorial Guinea? With a population of just 1.7 million people and over 76% rate of unemployment.
It is the same story.
Hi.
The overseers, they will only endorse the democracy. Can Macron, the democracy that he practice in his country, can Macron go to the French Senate and ask them for one more term?
Exactly what I'm saying. Exactly the question I asked. That's exactly why I asked the question. That why do we have the Western world as accomplices in this? The kind of things that they permit to happen in Africa, can they permit it to happen in their countries?
Please, my sister, let me tell you, I work in finance. See, let's leave emotion out of it. It is simple economics, it's business. If I am a foreign investor, will I want to pay the international rate for anything when I know I can bribe somebody for 1/3 of the price? Come on, sister, come on, this is math. When they loot the country, where do you think the money is going to? It's going back to the economy. So why will I want to stop my fellow countrymen from getting money? Why would I stop my banks from getting money? Why would I stop the housing market? For God's sake, Canada had to put a cap on the amount of foreigners that can buy houses because Nigerians are buying all their houses. And the rate, they're pumping up the rate for
and housing is becoming the cost of housing is becoming something else in Canada now.
Because of Africans and Nigerians that go park their money in those places, in Quebec, in Canada, in France, in Marseille, in Paris, hotels, apartments, Bugattis, the French government will turn a blind eye. No. They will not say anything. No. They want people that we can't trace their origin, people that just appeared in the airport and went to school, no primary school, no university, but yeah, they have degree. Those are the kind of people they want because those kind of people have no ideas. One of the effects of criminal leadership is not because they will loot you. Yes, they will loot you, but they have nothing in their head except that. So smarter people will be running rings around them. They think they are doing us. They're doing the generations. They're doing themselves. Children unborn.
But the sad thing is that most of the people, most of these leaders you mentioned, their generations unborn are already covered because they have enough money to take care of their 10th generation to come. So, but that's the problem. It is us. It is the masses that is the problem. It is the masses because they're the ones feeling the brunt of their actions or inactions.
Yes. Madam President, I'm agreeing with you. We have all allowed it because of society sets the standard for what is acceptable. We have all allowed the madness, including me, all of us. Why do I say that? this did not just start today. When the educational system was failing, nobody complained. What did Nigerians do? Nigerians adjusted. They sent their children abroad. No power. What
because even the least common man now would rather save up money to send their child abroad than complain about,
borehole water.
We'll sink our own.
No access to public water. Nigerians will adjust. They'll dig their own borehole. They'll water their own house. No complaints. The road in the community, Nigerians will come together and join money to fix their own road. Yes, the government will even harass them for doing that. My sister, is this contraption working for anybody? The poverty in the north is the poverty in the south, is the poverty in the east, is the poverty in the west. They are all united in the looting of us.
It's okay.
We
is enough.
No longer accept
is enough. AY, thank you.
Africa,
thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
I'm sorry. You have a lovely evening.
You too do have a lovely evening. Hello, good evening to you. Hello.
Hello, Precious. Good evening.
Good evening. Welcome.
Yeah, Mazuda is speaking.
Oh, Mazuda, you're welcome. Go ahead. Let's hear you.
Precious, you know that the problem is democracy.
What happened to her?
Democracy is not
It's not democracy for us.
No. They just bring these things to destroy Africa. I told you before. Democracy and religion is to make us be foolish. Salah told us before about democracy. It's nonsense. We don't need this thing. If we want to live, we have to design government that will take us to promised land, not democracy. They don't give it to us to survive. Why we wasting time? I love what happened to in this place. What's the name? This country, this school. If all the soldiers will unite and take all the power in Africa, I will be happy.
I know, don't say
democracy
that.
No. They should use democracy in their house. Let us design our own here now. Must we follow whatever they like? Must we follow what Guterman like? Anything what they bring, I will follow. I mean, none of them has ever think about it. None of them, all of them is to destroy Africa, make Africa foolish. Because they will not allow the good ones to go into that. They will organize all the crooks in Nigeria, in the whole Africa, to put them forward. But the good ones go back. So democracy is not, people were saying democracy is the best of government. Now for them, not for here. They did not design it for you. They did not design religion for you. They make all those things to bring you down, not to work. So I for their family. Destroy all of them. Let Africa organize themselves to be normal. Thank you, Gary.
All right, okay. Hello, good evening to you.
Good evening.
Yes, good evening. Welcome. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, this is Mr. Easy calling.
Mr. Easy, you're welcome. Go ahead, let's hear you.
Yeah, Miss Precious, as regard what I'm hearing today is really heart pumping, heart busting. See, you see these African countries that we call those small countries that we're thinking that they don't have anything, that they're, you see, their leaders are really killing them. All these African countries, that means they are all killing their citizens. So they have wealth like this, but they siphon everything. Now, there is something that is coming to my mind. You see, why all these leaders are ruling for long and the British or the white people are taking side with them, covering them, is because it's just like this now. When they see that a particular sitting government, they make deal with such European people or whosoever that is colonizing them, they are benefiting from that particular sitting president. That is why they allowed him to stay long on his role, so that nobody will come and break in the business that they both have together. That's what I see. And that's the same thing that is happening to all African countries. That shows you that all African countries, leaders, they know what they are doing. That is why they want this democracy. Now, they should forget that these same military people, the soldiers that are supporting them, are also the soldiers that are now fighting them later on. And there's one thing I want them to understand or to take note of, is that all these soldiers that is dancing to their tune, supporting them, when military would take over any states that they want to take over, those same military are the ones that will penalize them. If possible, they can even kill them, because they know what they've done, and all what they've stolen, they need to take everything back. And when they take everything back, they may even kill them. You know, military, when military take over, they don't care. They kill whoever they want to kill. So any country that is not being affected now should learn from what is happening. Because if they don't take care, it's just like when you're cooking soup now. From the house that you're cooking food, that the aroma of your food will be escalating to every part of the house, if possible the other compound. That's the same thing that I see coming on now. If Nigeria do not learn from what's happening, this same thing can get to Nigeria. So other countries now should learn from what is happening, because it's small, gradual, like they say. It will happen if you don't take time. It will affect whosoever does think it is not going to affect him or her. So every other country should just take note of what is happening, because gradually now, or not, I bet you, between 1 month, you hear that 4 or 3 countries will also be taken by military.
All right.
So other countries should learn from what's happening.
All right. Thank you. All right. Hello. Good evening to you.
Hello?
Yes. Good evening.
Yeah, hello.
Tony Chukwudi, you've spoken before now. Let others speak. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Yes.
What I want, giving me the time. First of all, there's somebody that called. I know you always don't like people to kind of make a comment on when somebody else share his or her opinion. Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is that, Precious, can you, like I just said, can you Google the currency? Sometimes we always think that pounds is the highest. Can you Google the currency of Oman, Kuwait? Their currency is 2 times or 3 times more than the pound.
How about that of Malta?
That's what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
So when you look at these people, I was just boiling. The guy that said that the problem is with the African. When you are fighting somebody who has an arm, or who has already strategized his own way, and you were coming with a clean hand, what are you going to do? The Africans are just looking. Most of them are poor, just trying to source out and pay their school fees for their own children to be educated, for them to have food. And you are going to challenge somebody who has already precious.
All right, it's okay. It's okay. Sorry, come on, be going. Thank you. Sorry. All right, so let me visit some messages very quickly. Good evening, Madam Precious. You didn't read my message yesterday. Please read it now because it's very important. You talked about Dr. DG. That's conversation yesterday has sealed off. It's not even in the offing anymore. Tunde from Ijeoma said, and I heard some years ago that Ali Bongo is a Nigerian that was adopted by former president. So that thing is still a rumor. Although we've been hearing that amongst all the 54 heirs of Omar Bongo, the father of Ali Bongo, that he's the only one that has not been able to prove his proper place of birth. And there's been rumors that he was adopted during the Nigerian Civil War, because his father Ali Bongo was the president then during the Civil War. He was president from 1967. So there are rumors that he was adopted, that he's from Nigeria and was adopted, because amongst all Omar Bongo's children or heirs, he's the only one that his birth certificate of place of birth is still very questionable, and there's been that contention, but it is not something that I can prove because I've not seen any DNA that states otherwise. I appreciate you, Tunde, for bringing that to the limelight. Hi, Precious. While the developed countries are practicing true democracy, African countries are into democracy. When a father and son have taken their people for a ride for 55 years, don't stop. Coup is inevitable. Something is definitely wrong with African leaders. Chika from Lekki sent in that message. Chika, I know if you talk to that one where you talk, And they said the so-called African leaders are not with their citizens. They were imposed on the people. This is exactly what. Wow, said that's what INEC did in Nigeria. He said more. Okay, he said more coups may happen in francophone countries. You see from Ijeoma sent in that message. And Egege from Agege said, to me, the reason for coup in Gabon is a common tag on African countries. This is greed. Corruption and injustice are the two main offshoots of greed. Imagine, is Gabon as a country a personal property of Ali Bongo? He's not even him. He started with his father, by the way. Hello. And then he said, it's only in Africa that hunger and poverty haunt the citizens, while the elected feast on daily basis at the expense of the masses. I wish I could pin this your statement for our brain. Let African leaders think twice and change. Otherwise, a case of bushmeat chase hunter will arise more in Africa. So you see the thing, that's actually the part that, it's irking. You run a country, that's the reason why I will mention the Western world again. You support leaders who live in so much affluence as against their people living in penury. And you know that cannot happen in your own country. You support leaders that their livelihood, the way they live and their salary and their allowances is like the distance between heaven and earth with the allowances and salaries of their citizens. And you know that in your own country, that can never happen. And then it's okay. You support it. Since, we all mentioned that that's where, we come from. And nobody is saying anything. Nobody is saying anything. How is it that we cannot even be? I don't understand. Well, let me go back to messages so I don't say beyond what I should say. Felix from NNPC Ejigbo says, this is to tell you how African citizens are fast embracing military juntas who they once detest, but now accepting them back because he that is down fears no fall already. No military regime can be worse than what we currently have as civilian governments. The first true attribute of democracy is the ability to elect leaders of our choice. But no, that never happens in Africa. It's you that ready to that wrote it. He said they rig elections, unleash talks on people they perceive, unleash talk on people that they perceive not as their supporters, beat up electorates, snatch ballot boxes, even with the help of security agencies, write results and announce it and expect you to accept it as democracy. It's either you take it or leave it. And tell you it is better than military government. If this is what they call democracy, sane African societies are telling them they would rather accept military government than this kind of democracy. If the judiciary does not restore confidence, I am afraid for Nigeria, the whole world may soon read same story of headlines. No, this will not happen for Nigeria. Well, you mentioned how it happened in Mali, Guinea, Niger, and now Gabon. And okay, you forgot Burkina Faso, right? Even though we do not wish such in our country. Thank you. As I mentioned that part. Felix from NNPC Ejigbo sent in that message. And he says, black man orientation is not developed and progressive naturally. If white men have South Africa today, leave South Africa today, they won't be the same again. Black need to check themselves before blaming the whites. Kola Wole from mainland. You take him to that angle of racism. Oh, wow. So the black man is his own worst enemy. Precious, speaking of the son of Nguema Basogo of Equatorial Guinea, who doubles as vice president to his father, you forgot to add that he paid millions of dollars to have days of nice time with the female American rapper. If I mentioned that one in 2005 now, he did not hear when I mentioned it. Yeah, I remember that now. He paid, may Eve can't stay with her, fully body Coca-Cola, fully shaped, come and stay, in a yacht a few years back. That was in 2005. I remember African leaders are crudely rapacious. Karl Marx calls it primitive accumulation. Some Ken John Oga sent in that message. All right, so let me go to more messages. Precious African leaders deserve to all be for life. ECOWAS is an organization set aside to impoverish Africans. With the way they're going, if they see all this evil and keep quiet, then that's their mission, really. Casey from heaven sent in that message. And then he says, good evening, Precious. Well, it's unfortunate that we Africans, we have a long way to go on governance. Far as I am concerned, military government is not the solution to Africans in governance. Most of our common Africans, we don't know our right. We, the common Africans, we allow all these African leaders sit tight as if nothing will happen. As you mentioned, most of the sit tight leaders, they allowed them. Africans Unite by Bob Marley. You see, now you sing the song Body from Isolo sent in that message. And then this says, good evening, Madam Precious host. My name is Nnaemeka from Ejigbo. Just look at the kind of leaders that made up African leaders full of errors. I told you this last time that France have lost it all in Africa, whether they like it or not. No one can be fooled. To you, always there will be a day that the fools will ask for their freedom, and that day has come. Everybody should be more of this, and no bad leader is safe from the movement of free Africa from the West. And what you said a lot, I appreciate you. And then this says, Precious, I am just enjoying your program every day. Precious, I'm really happy for what is going on in African countries, so that some of our leaders, especially Nigerians, will learn a lesson. For the president of Gabon, Oga Bongo, he's in Oga Bongo, Chairman Bongo. We are helping him to just make a noise. He never says something. My name, thank you. Thank you. He say he never cheat something. Okay, let me go back to my phone lines. Hello, good evening to you.
Hey, good evening, Precious. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Good evening. Please, could you remind me your name, sir?
Ola.
Hello, Ola, Mr. Darlington's 110%. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. You are welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Look, I added another 2% to the love I have for you. And don't let Darlington hear it.
Darlington is not around today. He will not hear. He will not hear. He's not around today. Hush, hush. Thank you for the 2%. I'm fine, thank you. But why did you add the 2% though? What did I do?
Because when I watch you yesterday at home, I really love how you look. But today, I don't know how pretty you are today, because I'm watching you on my
just because of look, you dash me 2%. When you've not even seen me in my element, you're just seeing me in imitation. By the time you see me in sample, you'll be surprised.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Ola, chiming on the conversation.
All right. Do you know why are we witnessing all what is happening in Africa today? It's because those people we call out, they don't perform leadership to every one of us. We are receiving a punishment from them. Nobody like a military regime, but those people making us love military regime. Tell me, Precious, in Nigeria today, since independence, 80-something% of infrastructure we are witnessing today in Nigeria is from the military.
I agree. The third mainland bridge that we're happy about today is military government now.
Thank you very much. God bless you. Okay, since 1999, what did you achieve? Look at the Ibadan Express Road. Indeed, I'm expecting our president or whoever is ruling us in Nigeria to choose only one thing. Maybe it's power. I'm here today to fix the power, nothing else. But our leaders, they make us love military. This will continue to happen. Because what is happening now, how can somebody ruling a country for 42 years and hand over to his son, and the son planning to continue again? What's wrong with our leaders? And these people are collaborating with our leaders as what's the man? The last speaker. What he said, the Western world, they don't like us, Precious. I don't supposed to be here with my age. I'm supposed to be in Nigeria eating ogbono soup or house soup. We are here doing a slave trade.
Because you must work to survive.
Please.
Thank you so much.
It's not good.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you, sir.
God bless DOP. God bless me. And God bless those people who love Nigeria.
Thank you.
And God punish those people who didn't love Nigeria.
Thank you, Mr. Ola. Bye-bye. All right, let me go through some messages. I see all of you on YouTube, the YouTube chat session. Let me see if I can start taking some of your messages very quickly. Okay, Chingy team says, good evening, Ijeoma Precious. Is one after the other. African leaders know they hear. It will reach every one of them one by one. Precious Nadi said, no, now he said nobody should make noise for him. Fisa Yomajikudumi says, good evening, Madam Precious. You are passionate woman. I hope you also understand. I hope you also understand that we have our own internal slavery, having old men in power. And then you said, do you know that a few friends of mine that were in South Africa always said we Nigerians are cowards in terms of standing for our own rights? Emmanuel Jamani says, lessons for Africa. When you choose democracy, please practice true democracy. Corrupt democracies welcome military coups. Precious, you are doing an important and necessary work. National assignment. When I never give me prayer for my what did they call her email address, so I've not received prayer in this national assignment. My mates received their own and they're still on holiday. Kene Ezike says, ask Mr. Darlington tomorrow about how Gabon received Biafran kid refugees during the war. I'm going to ask him. White Lion, good evening, Mr. Darlington. I'm sure you can hear because I know you'll be listening. We're going to talk about that tomorrow. Good evening, Lion. White Lion says, good evening. I'm happy. Long life sound Sultan. Okay, long live Sultan. Bushmeat go catch the hunter one day. That's what you said. Cameroon is next. Kenneth Wokolo says, please, let's give him microphone. Give who microphone? To use and make noise. You guys are not nice. Gabriel then says, I'm going back to WhatsApp now. Gabriel says, good evening. When a man is not happy with what he has, that is a thief. The African problem is to keep money for their family. That is why they take over power every time, not even to work for the interest of the people. Mark from Agege says, good evening, ma'am. Check the map above. 2 more coups in Cameroon or any other country on the left, and Nigeria is boxed in and surrounded by military governments. I don't think Nigeria will go the way of those countries because the military is cashing out through the Boko Haram insurrection in the northeast and the oil in the south. Now waiting you talk. Military is cashing out. Okay, I'm gonna. Yeah, you put me through the countries so far that have been taken over by what do you call it now? Military. The Sudan, the Chad. Okay, Mali, Niger. Okay. All right, I see what you did there. I appreciate you. All right, let me go to more messages because I have no time. Matthew from Ojo Alaba says, we have the best democracy where one man dictates who becomes the next governor of Lagos, where soldiers are sent to kill peaceful protesters, where voters are suppressed, injured and killed, where election results are manipulated in Rivers State and other places, where Senator Bulkachua can influence his wife to secure judgment for his colleagues, where president is sworn in before tribunal matters are concluded. Is that how it is done in USA? If democracy is government of the people, elections should be determined by voters. And who are the people and not the judiciary? The same judiciary that said it is perfectly fine for presidential aspirants to become senatorial candidates. We practice the best democracy indeed. Matthew from Ojo Alaba. Now what? Alan Gentle from Ilasamaja says, African leaders don't care about their countries. For me, I am praying for another 2. There is no democracy in Africa. Africa is still slave to foreign countries. Don't say that. And then he says, good evening, Precious. The problem of our African leaders are the issue of holding on to power for too long. Soldiers taking over will not solve the problem. When soldiers took over power in Mali and other countries, people were rejoicing. He said, Precious, go and check all the countries now. The citizens are not finding it easy. Soldiers taking over government is not a solution to our problem. What we need to do as citizens is to hold our leaders accountable. You go feel count rice? Can you count water? All right. Good evening, Precious. Well done, my dear. It's until African leaders and African people begin to emancipate themselves from mental slavery and start thinking and planning on how to build and make African nations be like that of Europeans, Americans, and so on. So you say the so-called whites will continue to make Africans seem inferior before them. Therefore, Africans, arise, be yourselves independently. Babeji from Oshodi sent in that message. You guys are giving me plenty of work. Your messages are so lengthy. Tony Anele from Ijegemo says, does the old cliche that the worst civilian regime is better than the best military regime still hold water? In fact, this has become more rhetoric and colloquial because so-called African democratic leaders are callous and ungodly in dealing with their people. To say the least, that's what you're saying. He said democracy should be redefined to suit African peculiarities. Why the people in Central Africa are rejoicing over the ouster of some of their wicked civilian administrators. What can the others do, since those countries are sovereign, no matter how small they may be? Now, the best thing would have been to find solution why military adventurism is seen as an option. But who will build the carts? Come on, bell him. Come on, bell the cart. And I said, when the other that embrace the pseudo-democracy are equal guilty of the wickedness. Tony Anele. All right, this says it is a lie that military can lead a country anywhere in the world. Up till tomorrow, Nigerian people are still suffering from dictatorship of the military. Who brought about impunity in Nigeria through the constitution? Is it not military? The only solution to this, what is happening in Africa, is for the continent of Africa to look at the pattern of leadership. We are only seeing power-drunken leaders in Africa. It is a pity. No to military rule in Africa. Chine Mere from Agbara sent in that message. Hey. And then he says, Bonsoir, precious engineer Ojikalo. My sister here in Benin Republic is also in trouble due to France is sucking their minerals. So Africa should wake up and manage themselves. I want Nigerian military. Okay, I rest my case. And then Remy from Akoka says, good governance is the only antidote to stop military coups supported by the masses from happening. That is the military coups that are supported from the masses from happening. Pray all you want, fast all you want, for as long as the led don't enjoy the dividend of democracy, military coup is inevitable. I hope African leaders will do the needful and lead rightly to avert coup. But wait though, why is this so hard? What is so hard in leadership to ensure that you give your own people a good lease of life? I mean, why does it seem so difficult? Perhaps because I've not sat on a seat like that before. Because I'm wondering, why is it so difficult to make things and life easy for your people? Well, Kilo from Ijesha says, what is happening in Africa? More coup to come. Watch out. May God have mercy on us. Hey, wait. All right, you guys will not finish me with messages today. My mouth is already paining me. And then this says, Samson from Iyenokwaja says, the Western world is only capitalizing on the greed of African leaders to end their own selfish taste of African natural cake that is being laundered by the looting leaders. Copists are better than the looting politicians because in some ways they have contributed to their countries in one way or another than looting politicians. Yay! All right, Magic Femi Majikudume says, I'm just short of words and getting fed up about Africa and their way of practicing democracy. Hey, please, people should stop blaming the Western world. The ball is on the court of the Western world doesn't love, is on the court. If the Western world doesn't love us, let us love ourselves. Like Fela Nikolakot Kuti said, that's one we dey practice, no be democracy. Fela said, no be democracy, but na crazy. You went on with that. Please, precious, stop blaming the Western world. We Africans need to check ourselves and stop blaming the whites. And then, yep. And then you said the problem of Africa is our leaders that are selfish, corrupt, and liars with bad governance and embezzlement, mismanagement. I rest my case. I'm surprised this is coming from you. Alex from Iju said, Precious, all these ones sending messages about Africans not rising up to defend themselves will be the same to condemn you for protesting because the leaders is not from your tribe or religion. Precious, take it or leave it. Religion is always behind the decisions that we take in Africa. Religion. What religion is taking the front line in Gabon? Hope you people are aware that publicity. Oh, greenish, please. Nobody is calling for anything. Please. Listen back again. Okay, if military coup opened fire on NSAS civilian during civilian rule and civilian president could not obey court judgment, judiciary will tell what's difference between democracy and military rule. Solomon Asika from Mushin rather sent in that message. All right. And then this says, great impressions, blessed from Italy. When you're praised by the colonies, it means that you are bad for your people. When they say you are bad for your people, it means that you're good for your people. Is that the right thing? Oh wow, really? And they said the day they said I'm good, then I have betrayed my people. Ahmed Sako Tourist. Okay, you quoted that. Okay. All right, just want to say evil-mindedness is killing us in Nigeria. Precious, there is fire on the mountain. Run, Africa. Let our judiciary take note. Oh, no. Godfrey from Surulere. So this doesn't have anything to do with Nigeria, right? We're actually looking at what happened in Gabon, just so you know. All right? Okay. All right. Okay, I think I better go back to my phone lines because it's been buzzing non-stop. All right, let me go back to the phone lines. Hello, good evening to you. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, good evening.
Good evening, Madam Precious.
Yes, good evening. Welcome. What's your name, please?
This is Tony from Chicago.
Oh, Mr. Tony, you're welcome. Go ahead. Let's hear you.
Yes, I wake up this morning and I heard what's happening in Gabon.
Was your shock as shocked as our shock?
No. I wasn't shocked.
You were not? Oh, wow.
Mama is expected. Mama is coming.
Hey.
And yes, but the funny thing that in my country, Nigeria, I know the amount of money that live in that country by now is getting times 3. Those people in government are moving a lot of funds out of the country.
Why do you think so?
Because they have the feeling. If that killing people for your place, left and right, the head people, one day might come to you. And if somebody tell me that some of Nigerian military are not thinking the same way what's going on now, the person is a liar. Something is going on, but they are waiting for the judiciary.
Thank you.
It's inevitable, but I didn't pray for that.
No, that's not happening in Nigeria, Biko. It's not.
I pray for good, but when you see the truth coming, you have to say this is truth. I know we are outside national TV, but let's pray for those people there to do the right thing. I don't pray for that. I pray for good for my nation, Nigeria. I believe everything will go on well. But to the Gabonese, it's so saddened that they have a family that is holding them. This is happening in different countries in Africa.
I agree. I just mentioned that of Equatorial Guinea. We have friends. Yes, we have friends. We have the... Yes, don't even say. And of course, Cameroon is grooming his son too. Perhaps his son may even take over from him.
Mm-hmm. Yes, so how about Eyadema? Eyadema's son took over for him. So all this is happening in the country. They call it democracy. It's democracy, like Fela said. I would say Democrat is what? Africa don't practice democrats. If Africa practice democrat, there's no way that the judiciary will say something and the people will say no. The government will keep Martin Adukalo there. It's not democracy. Judiciary say something, they do another thing. It's not military rule, it's a military rule. But because they're wearing a civilian queue, they call it I think one of the programs says civilian queue happening in Africa. What are people, look at this country now, ruled by the same family for
55 years now.
Oh my goodness. They're supposed to go out for that place. I'm sorry for the nation.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you for me.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. All right. Hello. Good evening to you. Hello. Hello.
Hello, Precious.
Yes, please. Good evening. Welcome. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Okay, good evening. My name is Yemi from Houston.
Yemi, you're welcome. Go ahead.
How you doing?
I did now. I did a job like this.
I see and so. You see the problem with these African leaders. Now, I love what this man just spoke from Chicago now. And what he's saying, people might not see the reason. But I'm telling you, even here where I am, I know our Nigerian politicians and former governors. You know that a luxury apartment, that one building is about 10 apartments, and the list is about $1,500. Do you know that they buy the whole apartment? That's about 64 buildings. That's 640 apartments. They buy it. Nigerians, when this man said they are moving money out, he knows what he's saying. And I'm telling you, we see them. They are the ones in
No. Now, this is a serious accusation to even, cast on national radio. Are you sure about this?
Okay, very soon.
And what makes you think it's not from their private businesses anyway?
Private Guinea. Precious, you are being funny. Do you know what is happening? These people, this is what is going on. Why do you think that there's always cash trap? Why do you think that the dollar is always going on? They don't. That's why everything in Nigeria, they are grounding it. These are the same people that tell us that they have money, but at the end of the day, we don't see. They know how they move all these things. See, my sister, it's just the grace of God, and I know that the way these people are doing, you see them. That's why they talk anyhow. There are powers that be. They are there. Even in my own country, I'm not talking of other countries now. Look at what is going on. Somebody's staying for 56 years. It becomes mortal inheritance. I was saying it in the morning. I was telling walkie-talkie and all that. I'm telling you, this thing is now becoming a norm. Like in Africa, it's like a norm. We want to remain there in power forever.
So then what do we do? What do we owe all of this? And how can this stop?
You see, it is just the system when they say democracy.
And then how can we ensure that the leaders in Africa use the wealth in Africa for the good of their people and the land? Because I'm sure that I don't know, because a part of me feel like Africans are not so difficult to rule or to please. Because imagine in almost all elections every year somebody will come and tell us, we'll give you lights, we'll give you road, we'll give you this, and we agree the same promises almost every year, and we just fall for it again. So I feel like Africans are very easy to please. So just do small things for us and we'll be happy. The kind of demands that all those Americans and Europeans are looking for in government, our eye never tear like that. So we just want basic things. So why is it so hard to provide basic things for our people? I want to understand.
Because they want to save for their generation unborn, only their own generation. Is it right?
This is just okay. Go ahead.
Once you have your little home, you have your car, you are okay. They go for vacation. They don't. But Africa, we want to colobi the whole thing. Keep it for yourself and your generation alone. This is not. It's not called for. I'm telling. These are things we see. These are things we see, and I pray God will just open our eyes. But please, I want to ask you for one thing. Please play us Palava.
I know they play. Bye bye. All right, let me go back to my phone lines. Hello, good evening to you. Hello. Don't do this now. Hey, help me quench the voice of your radio now, please.
Thank you already. Good evening.
Good evening. Welcome. Go ahead. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Mr. Divine TJC from Oshodi.
Go ahead.
I heard of everything. See, the only thing we have to do for this country is for us to be sincere to each other. And our government, our president, and the people that work with him, what they have to do is this thing that is happening across the world, across Africa, if those things are not touching them, because I know it's touching them, is for them to see food and do the right thing. Nigeria did not demand much. What Nigeria need is let there be electricity, let there be let there be roads where we can do our business, and let there be security that people who are farming will be able to go and do their work, their farming, and come back alive. These are all that we want in this country. But if people fail to do it because they are selfish, and let me tell you, if they continue with this lifestyle, what happened in this Nigeria Republic and this today will take place in this country. No truth about it, except you do the right thing. If you fail to call a spade, see, like this adage that people said, the bush that does not like basket should not develop mushroom, should not bring forth mushroom. The bush that doesn't like basket should not bring forth mushroom. If not, if it does that, basket must enter there. So you don't like kill as a government, the do the right thing. Let people have their say. Let the poor man be given to them. Period. Thank you. And God bless Nigeria.
All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. All right. Let me run through some messages very, 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 very quickly. Okay. So this here says, what worries me about the Gabon coup is the coup a rebel against France or just a regular Nigerian kind of coup? Which one is rebel against France coup and Nigeria kind of coup? Does Nigeria have its own coup? He said, by the way, we keep making for Don Bongo. I don't understand that. Lawori from Egbeda sent in that message. And then you said, why won't there be coup when my minimum wage that is not regularly paid is 30K? For I and my entire family and bearing other expenses, why my president and family is giving millions thereabouts to feed in a year, or billions to feed in a year, feeding alone in a year. That's an irony. Shame to our democracy. Chinedu from Badagry sent in that message. Chinedu, unfortunately, this thing you're saying there, it just cuts across. So it's not just in this country. Hello, good evening to you. Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, good evening. Welcome. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, my name is Peter. I'm calling from Mafia.
Peter, you're welcome. Go ahead.
Yeah, what our president is doing in this country is like a farmer who go to farm without basket to carry crops from the bush. So if we continue like this country, everybody is tired. Instead of them to be consuming the money without doing anything, I think I'll be hearing the conversation too. Truly, if you see what military have done during the time of their regime, none of the civilian presidents have done it. So it's better let the military take over them so that we can see something to eat and do some work to do. I think it's better.
No.
May God bless you.
No, you can't call for military rule. All right, let me go back to a few messages. Okay. And where did I stop now? Damian Nzewoma says, sooner or later, Tony Chukudi said, yes, the Gabon took a lot of Biafran kids. That was good of the Gabonese. Then White Lion says, I came back again. What's the definition of democracy? Government of the people, by the people, and for the people. If the people accept military, does that make it democracy? Tony Chukudi say, I pray that it will happen in Cameroon. No, now. And then Damian Nzewoma said, the problem with Nigeria is based on religion, especially from one part of the country. Juliana Ejugbele says, the problem of our leaders in Africa is greed, no love for others, even not for their own family, just greed. Kena Ezekeden says, our problem is also greed, to have excess. Others will have less. Okay, he said to have excess, others will have to have less. Dr. Daniel Black, you quoted there. Blessed said, we Nigerians don't need too much from our government. If our government can give us just good road, good hospital, good education, better electricity, security, it has finished. We don't used to look for plenty things. And that's true. I mean, from what I have seen and experienced, Nigerians are not very demanding in government. We don't ask for too much. And then this says, you say Africans are easy to please. I say Africans or Nigerians are easy to devise. Yet we would claim that we are smart and yet and wise. Yet it doesn't show on our development. High level of greed, stealing so much money like words that like the world is about to end. How would such a country or part of the world develop? Anyone blaming the best is just being naive. Military coup wouldn't solve the problem in Africa. Why? Because the military are also as corrupt as the civilians. Are you just not a civilian before you became a soldier? Is there anything like moral in the society? Is money and greed and selfishness not the order of the day? Anyone who's asking for coup is not mentally okay. You said other person has well, you said a lot. And then he says, good evening, precious. You are on point. Ifanye from Ijeoma just sent in that message. Let me read your message. Dayo from Fagba. Dayo, precious. What instigated coup in Gabon, Niger, and some African countries is due to low-grade mind rulers that has misruled and looted, impoverished the people, also use this wealth for vote buying and Agbero intimidation of their people. The case study, controversial elections. I want to ask the election that took place in Lagos, both presidential and governorship. Is it election where there was intimidation and of people? If judiciary, but you said a lot. You see, the kind of things they used to do, don't put me in trouble. That's why I always like to skip your message, because I have to be site editing. And this says, and those disobedient supporters stylishly calling for the madness of Nigeria are just allowing their emotion to think for them. If military take over, nobody is calling for military in Nigeria. So I mean, I'm sorry, but perhaps you've not been listening. We've been talking about African countries, and I don't think I mentioned here that, anything has to happen in Nigeria. So please, I'd rather skip. You said Abacha's tenure in democracy was right, and well, you said a lot. I have to skip your message. Coup will soon come to all right. Well, you said a lot. I probably will draw the curtain on the show this evening. Thank you so much to everyone who's been a part of this show. And I'd like us to really, ponder upon something today. Dig deep into your conscience and ask yourself, the change that you desire from your leaders, are you willing to be that kind of person you desire from your leaders to be if you were in their position? Because I think that the number one challenge you have in Africa is we currently in the 10th Assembly. It will look as if I'm just taking a jab on Labour Party. That's not because I'm taking a jab on them. That's because we all, supported, or they all supported themselves because, you thought that they will make the change, create the change that you deserve, or create the change that you wanted. If others are chopping money and you say you will not chop, would they kill you? If they're sending prayers to people's email address and you say, no, don't send, or this prayer you sent to my email address, I have taken it, but I will use it to sink borehole in my community. I've taken this prayer, I'll use it to provide means of transportation free for my people. Is it a crime? How many of them have we seen do that? So whilst you lambast your leaders that they are this, that, ask yourself, are you willing to be that human that you expect your leaders to be? That's the question that I'll leave. Are you also willing for your fathers and your brother around you to be the leader that you expect your leaders to be? To be the human that you expect your leaders to be? If you're in that position of power, would you chop your own? Or would you be that same thing? Well, my name is Precious Enyi. On Instagram, I'm at Precious Enyi Official. Twitter, I'm at Precious_Enyi. And Facebook, I'm at Precious Enyi. Unfortunately, I have some restrictions on my Facebook. I don't know how, but then I try to sort that out. But I'm still Precious Enyi on Facebook, and I'm sure you can go ahead and follow me. Well, if you want to catch up with me on YouTube, I'm at Precious Enyi TV on YouTube. Precious Enyi TV on YouTube. Enyi is spelled ENYI TV on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining us. Tomorrow is another day. Mr. Darlington will be here with me tomorrow, and we'll be dissecting very important issues. I bet you don't want to miss it. Take care of yourself.
Are you aware that Iruka Online Limited installed and designed a 100,000 capacity church building? Oh yeah, we are the sole distributors of global leading brands all over the world, such as Wafday Line Array, speakers and digital amplifiers, Preseno's digital mixers and studio equipment, Coswell workstations and keyboards, Fender guitars, Mapex drums, Ashdown bass combos, just to mention but a few. We offer flexible payment plan handled by our financial department with 24/7 customer care support system. You can visit our website on www.iruka.com to avoid buying fake products. You can also visit our showroom at number 36 Lagos International Airport Road beside Golden Tulip Hotel. Iruka, never set to